You're standing at a harbor. A massive cargo ship the size of a city block slowly glides into port. You've probably seen it 100 times. But here's the thing, almost nobody ever stops to ask why every giant ship on Earth is painted the same bold, blood-red color below the waterline. It's not branding. It's not camouflage. And no, it's not to scare the sharks. The real answer stretches back 300 years and involves a tiny worm that nearly crippled the entire British Navy. Welcome to the logic of simple things. Let's rewind to the 1700s, the golden age of wooden sailing ships. These vessels were engineering marvels for their time, but the moment one hit the ocean, it became an all-you-can-eat buffet. Algae would creep across the hull within days. Barnacles would cement themselves on by the hundreds. And then there was the real villain, Teredo novalis, the shipworm. Despite its name, it's not actually a worm. It's a clam that tunnels through like a living drill bit, hollowing out an entire hull from inside while barely leaving a mark on the surface. Sailors called the damage dry rot of the sea. Naval commanders called it a catastrophe. Because here's the thing about biofouling, the technical term for all this marine hitchhiking, it doesn't just look bad. A ship encrusted with barnacles could lose up to 40% of its top speed. In the 1700s, speed was survival. Slower ships lost naval battles, missed trade winds, and ran out of food mid-ocean. Biofouling wasn't just inconvenient, it was a matter of life and death. By the late 1700s, the British Royal Navy cracked the code. Their solution? Copper. They began sheathing the bottoms of wooden warships in thin copper plates. And it worked brilliantly. Copper is a natural biocide. When it reacts with seawater, it creates a microtoxic environment that algae, barnacles, and shipworms simply cannot survive in. Suddenly, British warships were faster, cleaner, and deadlier. Some historians argue that copper-bottomed ships were a decisive factor in British naval dominance during this era. But then the Industrial Revolution happened, and wooden ships gave way to iron and steel. And here's where things get chemically interesting. You cannot attach copper directly to iron in seawater. The salt water acts like a battery. It triggers a galvanic reaction that rapidly accelerates corrosion and eats the iron hull alive. So the copper sheets had to go. The solution? Anti-fouling paint. Paint infused with the same protective power of copper in the form of copper oxide. And copper oxide, in its natural state, is a deep, rusty brick red. The famous red bottom wasn't designed. It was discovered, a happy accident of chemistry. Here's where the story gets interesting. We have access to synthetic anti-fouling compounds in literally any color. Navy blue, matte black, even electric green, all perfectly effective. So why are ships still red? 2 reasons. The first is tradition. Maritime culture is deeply conservative. Sailors are, historically speaking, a superstitious bunch. If something has worked for 300 years, you don't mess with it. The red bottom became an icon of the sea, as recognizable as the anchor tattoo or the ship's bell. The second reason is surprisingly practical. That high-contrast red stripe creates a visual reference point called the boot topping, the line where the hull meets the water. A trained eye can look at this line and instantly tell if a vessel is properly loaded or dangerously overweight. It works in tandem with the Plimsoll mark, the official load line indicator stamped into every commercial hull. In rough seas, in bad light, with a glance, that red line tells the story. So next time you're at a harbor or you scroll past a photo of a massive container ship, take a second look at that red belt wrapped around its belly. That color is 300 years of human ingenuity. It's the ghost of copper nailed to a warship's hull. It's the chemistry of ocean survival, turned into an icon so familiar we stopped seeing it entirely. History has a funny way of hiding in plain sight. If this story made you look at the world a little differently, hit like, share it with someone who loves random brilliance, and subscribe because we find the extraordinary story hiding inside the ordinary thing. Until next time, keep asking why.